as I need to view the screen because the tables contain a lot of statistics. So yes, first and foremost, I need to introduce the principal co-author, Mogale Ramokgopa, and he's a master's in construction management by research, uh, about to graduate, and he just needs to finalize his dissertation. I was the supervisor, that's me, John Smallwood, and Chris Allen, my colleague, was the co-supervisor. So the adoption and effectiveness of mobile applications on South African construction sites. So not exactly rocket science, as we would say, but an issue not just in South Africa and developing countries, but globally. But needless to say, they generally are, or the issues are more profound in developing countries than developed countries. So by way of introduction, and I didn't include a review of the literature because you all know more than enough re-mobile apps and BIM and blah, blah, blah. But just a brief introduction. Collaboration, information integration are indispensable in the development of contemporary digital technologies within the construction industry. Compared to other developing nations, South Africa has experienced a considerable increase in the access and usage of smartphone mobile devices. However, the construction sector is often among the last to adopt and embrace modern technologies, and that probably applies globally. The study focused on the impact of mobile digital technologies on construction, site production activities, and the performance expectancy by contractors and construction management related personnel and other built environment professionals. So the research method and sample stratum, quantitative methodology, the potential respondents, architects, construction managers, design engineers, site engineers, supervisors, and skilled, semi-skilled workers within the South African construction industry. Now, in retrospect, it's not regrettable, but it was too comprehensive a sample in terms of the range of practitioners. And it may well have impacted, and I say may well have, in my opinion, it did impact on the findings and resulted in what you could call skewed findings. But nevertheless, it provides a perspective. The primary data is collected through an online questionnaire consisting of primarily Likert scale type questions, not just 5-point, some 6-point and 7-point. 40 respondents in total, 83% males and 17% females. We can debate that in global terms. Average age of 36 years, average of 11 years experience working in the built environment. So you could argue relatively experienced, not very experienced. And only 25.6% of the respondents possess a qualification higher than the South African National Senior Certificate. So that indicates that most of the respondents were actually skilled workers and semi-skilled workers. But at the end of the day, skilled workers and semi-skilled workers actually have to construct the building or structure. And that, of course, includes assembling it. And that includes the necessity of, how can I say, digestible designs, details, and so on. So it's very important because it's where the concrete hits the shutter, not the rubber hits the road. Where the concrete hits the shutter, that's important. Because those designs and details, courtesy of designers, have to be executed. They must be constructible. Descriptive statistics included frequencies and a measure of central tendency in the form of a mean score. The paper actually focused on inferential statistical analysis, but it would have partially been superficial for this presentation because you wouldn't have been exposed to the range of technologies and in cases, some very simple findings. I don't know why this laser pointer, but it's a bit late to use it now. So yes, table 1 presents a frequency of sharing documents using 6 technologies. That mean score there is between 1 and 7. The mean score being second from the right. Oopsie, now I've done something. What have I done now? Thanks. So that mean score there is between 1 and 7. The midpoint's 4. You'll notice only 2 text messaging, and that's primarily WhatsApp and email, have mean scores greater than 4. So we can say that in their case, they are used frequently as opposed to infrequently. As you can see, the BIM app, lowest mean score, 1.88. And the video meeting app, Zoom, for example, ranked third. Its mean score was 2.57, which is well below the midpoint of 4. I'm really not having... Sorry. Yes. Yeah. No, okay. The rating of the effectiveness, usefulness of 7 collaboration teamwork platforms. You'll notice that there's 7 platforms as stated in the table description, and the midpoint there's 3, and you'll notice that 5 of the 7 platforms have mean scores greater than 3, which means they are more than effective as opposed to less than effective. Please note, number 1, face-to-face interaction, physical presence. So that's not an app, and it was actually just included, and I can see one of the delegates to my left smiling, and it's kind of a dirty trick, as we say, in research, where you just throw in an outlier, and it's actually very important to do so. What is also notable, and some of you probably picked it up already, is why you should always include an unsure option. Now, it's fascinating when you conduct research in the built environment and you review the number of, or the percentage unsure responses. But the key issue here is that, as you can see, or as I stated, 5 of the 7 have mean scores above the midpoint of 3. So face-to-face, WhatsApp, video meeting app or software, for example, Zoom, cloud storage platforms, and of course, email groups. And so, and there we go. Table 3, frequency of communicating using 8 technologies methods, 8 of them as noted, and of course the midpoint here is 3.5 because it's a 6 point, the mean scores between 1 and 6 as such, and you'll notice that 4 of the 8, 50%, have mean scores above the midpoint of 3.5, once again. So this is frequency, not usefulness. So WhatsApp, there's the face-to-face meeting second, voice call, phone call, private text messaging app, once again, WhatsApp. So the text messaging group was first, and the text messaging private as such was 4th. And then email correspondence, 5th. Frequency of identifying 8 design clashes, and this was a master's by research. It was actually quite extensive, and to condense it into the dissertation, into a paper, and certainly a presentation, was quite a challenge. But the reason this table's included here, the frequency of identifying 8 design clashes, is because that's one of the biggest challenges in construction, and particularly with respect to construction project management and construction management, and hence the development or the advent and development of BIM. But we'll notice here that the midpoint is 3, that's between 1 and 5, and in fact all the mean scores are below 3. However, you could argue and say, well, John, they should all be 1, because there shouldn't be clashes in theory. But this, of course, is one of the challenges of the built environment, and has been the case for decades. When I was a contracts manager, it was a nightmare, but that's in the late 80s. Frequency of monitoring costs using 5 methods. Midpoint there, 3. You'll notice only 2 are in fact above the midpoint of 3, the physical document and a verbal report. Spreadsheet or similar software, probably Excel or similar, you could say not too far below the midpoint of 3, but notice the mobile app and specialized cost management software well below. However, when you review the rating of the usefulness of the 5 methods of monitoring costs, This is between 1 and 6 because there's an is not option. So the midpoint's 3.5. You'll notice that 4 of the 5, 80%, have mean scores above that midpoint of 3.5. And it's notable, though specialized cost management software wasn't used, it's recognized as being more than useful. And similarly, a spreadsheet or similar software document and a mobile app, and of course a physical document, a notebook. Of course, people do record things manually. I also make notes. But I'm almost a dinosaur now. Verbal report, that was the only one below, however, marginally below the midpoint of 3.5. Extent to which 7 mobile applications features improve respondents' productivity. Now that's the individuals, the respondents, not productivity on site. So as you can see, the midpoint's 3.5, and you'll notice that 5 of the 7's mean scores are above that midpoint. Once again, face-to-face interactions, first, mobile text groups, that's the group. Second, Zoom. Third, email groups. 4, cloud storage platforms. 5. And then the other 2 below. I think I've run out of time. The degree of concurrence regarding accessibility and benefits of 3D renderings, mean scores there between 1 and 5, midpoint of 3. Above the midpoint of 3, there's more agreement than disagreement. 3D renderings and drawings help me understand the details of structure better than 2Ds, 4.12. 3D renderings and drawings are available to me or my team at any time on site, 3.44. Not very high or much higher than 3, but it is notable. 3D drawings and renderings help me plan the construction process 4. So, just some qualitative, please record your comments in general regarding the use of mobile applications on construction sites. 19 comments were received. 11 of the 19 were productivity related. In general, there's a sense of concern with respect to the barriers to technology adoption. There's also a sense of doubt about whether mobile technologies are suitable for South Africa or not. But please note this quotation. That's mobile technology, is only effective or extensively used as far as WhatsApp is concerned. There's not much availability or implementation of these, which I've experienced much of in South Africa otherwise. So it's notable because it highlights a form of digital technology usage on construction sites, and of course also highlights an opportunity for stakeholders to introduce something more effective in the market. The use of WhatsApp on construction sites was mentioned by another app participant. WhatsApp has been an efficient method of communication when dealing with non-document control related issues. And conclusions, last slide, Chair, there's a high usage of mobile smartphones on South African construction sites. Design outputs such as 3D renderings and drawings must therefore be compatible to smartphones. Communication, collaboration, information sharing play a crucial role in managing construction. Implementation of digital infrastructure for construction projects can improve overall performance and productivity of stakeholders involved in the built environment. There is an opportunity for the industry to incorporate construction management features into the primary means of communication on construction sites, i.e. mobile apps. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you.